All right, I'm down. I gotta go. All right, so it looks like we are live. So for everybody who's joining us, let me make sure this white screen goes away. Sometimes it's too bright. There we are. So I always do these shows. Everybody knows what it's all about. It's all about business. It's all about growing. It's all about other entrepreneurs being inspired by other entrepreneurs, right? So I have a personal friend on today, Briana Cardone. Her husband is Sal Cardone. We've known each other a long, long time. And this week's kind of theme has been talking about restaurants, some of my personal restaurants. So I think you saw on Wednesday, I had Dino, who was on the phone, and he's from Galena. There's a steakhouse out there that we often like to go to. It's a beautiful place. But everybody knows Mambo out here. And Mambo is a great place. As a matter of fact, we ordered the food last night and had a great dinner. So thank you to you and your staff. So without further ado, I'd love to introduce Briana Cardone. Bree, tell everybody who you are. What do you do? What's it like?
Well, I don't know where to start. 16 years strong, Mambo. I mean, no, you've been there up of the way with us. So 16 years strong at Mambo. I feel like it's only been a year. I can't explain how much we love that place. I think you know that.
Oh, yeah.
I am a little bit of a jack of all trades at the restaurant. I kind of do everything and anything. I'm the executive chef. I co-wrote the menu with my husband and still cook to this day in the kitchen.
No, I love it. I remember the earlier days when you guys first opened up, and I'm talking, like you said, 15, 16 years ago. It's a whole different look now. Back then there was a bar with a certain setup. You have like another part of your restaurant that's open now. The bar act's actually in the center. But I remember the early days and what it was like, and it was such a good family feel. It was a good Italian feel. It was there was like an essence to it that I always enjoyed, especially when I was in my 20s, you were in your 20s. I mean, that was it seems like a lifetime ago, because now I have children, I'm married, you're now married to Sal and have the kids. And it's a wild, wild scenario, but you've also grown over the years. So now, one of the things I want to talk about is with what's going on currently with the quarantine. I would imagine it's hard all across the board, being a mother, being a wife, and obviously being a business owner, most importantly. But you're in the service industry, right? And with that comes a lot of change that you and Sal have to go through. Would you mind sharing some of the changes you've made? And for example, what I mean by that is like Dino in Galena, they sell high-end steaks. He had to get it out there, so he created these barbecue boxes, like these quarantine and grill boxes to get the steaks out. Have you guys done anything similar? Has takeout changed? What does that look like?
Definitely has changed. A huge part of our business has been the dining room. We do have a fairly large, restaurant now. We're four stores strong. We just actually signed the lease on our 5th store. So
congrats.
And that really is where we've been concentrating, and that's where most of our income comes from. We are fortunate enough that we have been a carryout place this whole 16 years. So we were prepped and ready to go. Sal and I, we had the discussion, the minute everything started happening. Fortunately enough, we still have family and friends in Italy. So first thing I said to him, I said, you know what, we're calling Italy. We're seeing what this is really all about. Smart. And let's get some information before we end up shutting down just like Italy does. And, we knew before it happened that it was going to happen. I kind of had a feeling that it was going to happen because of St. Patrick's Day, because, I mean, as well as I do, we party hard in Chicago for St. Patty's. And I knew it was going to still happen, and I knew that was just going to be not good for the restaurant business. So rather than rush into anything, we kind of sat back. And we said, we're not going to close our doors even for the 2 weeks, because we had a gut feeling that it was going to be more than 2 weeks. And even if it wasn't, we wanted to be prepared for the worst, because, you know, like you just said to me earlier, I mean, it's better to be prepared than ill prepared. So we wanted to be ahead of it and not chasing something and not behind it. So, you know, we started off slow. And what we basically did was we opened up for carry out. And in the beginning, we could have had people still come into the restaurant. We made an executive decision that we were going to do curbside, even though it was extremely difficult. As you know, we have a huge, you know, like front awning and
Yes.
sidewalk.
Right.
So it's really a pain in the butt to go out through our double doors and everything like that, but we made it work. Our phone lines weren't prepped for it. You know, our restaurant wasn't prepped for it, but we made it work because that's what we thought would be, you know, the safest thing to do for not only my staff members, but for my clients.
Sure.
So keeping everybody out really honestly was the best decision. And then now I mean, I don't even know 100%. I think it is kind of a mandatory thing, whether or not the government has enforced that. Everybody's kind of just doing curbside and not letting anybody come in.
I think I saw something yesterday, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it sounds like restaurants are we're going to be in phase 4, whatever the hell that means, right? But it looks like we're going to be in phase 4 sooner than later, which could be, I think June 8th, something like that. I might have read that wrong, but
I don't even know. At this point, I'm not getting excited for anything.
Sure.
The state keeps changing everything. You know, there's no reason to get set on anything. If anything, we're just going to change the model and be prepared for what happens, but we're not believing it until it actually happens, put it that way.
Gotcha. So I heard something you said that was interesting in that whole scenario. You called back home, the native, you called Italy to find out what happened in Italy. That's actually brilliant, you know, from the perspective, because we all saw in the news what happened in Italy. It was crazy, right? It was extremely sad, but having that contact out there, that helps you prepare, right? From a business standpoint. As entrepreneurs, you're like, we got to adjust. What are you doing out there, anticipating what's coming our way? What was shared with you from Italy back home, was that anything, was it relative? Was it the same? Was it similar, or a little bit of that happened?
What was shared to me back then, and this is pre-March 15th, 16th, whatever, what was shared with me is what we're going through right now. Oh. You know, that they were all on lockdown. They were all in their homes. They had to stay home, that they can only go to the grocery store. You actually had, you know, a certain area that you had to stay within, and certain, you can't leave with, you know, more than one person in your household. You couldn't leave and go anywhere, just the store. So, you know, fortunately enough, we had one of my husband's cousins giving us a lot of really good information, because he was an essential worker. He drives a super train, you know, so he actually was, you know, driving, you know, medical supplies and actually, you know, our US trucks and tanks for our soldiers to assist in Italy.
Go figure.
Mm-hmm.
That's outstanding. So with some of the changes you guys have made thus far, let's be honest, we're all entrepreneurs. We all have family and the kids. I saw your kids coming on the screen earlier. Has that been a more of a daunting task, trying to balance all of that? Because there's a lot of entrepreneurs that are watching this who are stuck to working remotely, or even restaurateurs who are going through the same thing you're going through, you know, at the highest levels. Has that been a challenge for you, trying to manage all the kids, try to get to the shop, do what you got to do, help Sal? Because last time I talked to you on the phone, you told me Sal's at the shop like damn near all day, every day, which he has to do that, unfortunately, but that also leaves you alone to deal with the kids. That's tough. That's tough, because you're in this together. What does that look like? If you want to share that.
No, I'd be happy to. You know, first and foremost, before we get into the kids, you know, with changing the business, you know, we, like I was saying before, sat down and developed some new ideas. We decided to have to get a steady pace of our new business with the curbside carryout before we dove into anything new. Diving into something new, some of our new ideas. We're currently selling pizza kits, doing cooking demonstrations, doing live Zooms with cooking classes, you know, where people can purchase boxes of, you know, ready to go food to prepare with me via Zoom.
Sure.
You know, this is something that yes, we were planning on doing the cooking classes and demonstrations in the future. That's why we purchased the 5th store, the 5th unit. But we weren't anticipating it on rolling it out via
Correct.
Zoom.
No, I totally feel that. Our model was the same thing. Like there was a lot of things we were going to do, but this shit expedited it, right? So you're like, well, I got to do it now. And you might have had the foundation for it, but the blueprint wasn't ready, right?
Oh, no,
So now you're on the fly. Right?
We had the idea, and it was literally like we got kicked in the ass, and that's it. Being thrown to the sharks because, you know, we're artists. You know, we're creators, we're artists. I know nothing of computers. Yeah. And, you know, as you've seen with my social media, you and I have had many long talks even at the gym. You know, you're like, when you getting your blog going? When you doing this? Let's go with the social media. And honestly, it's like my nemesis. It's my worst, you know, asset is computers. I've been forced to do it, and I want to do it because, you know, it keeps my client, you know, engaged. I'm helping people. I'm helping them create food at home because no, they can't go and order food every single day. You know what I'm saying? It's like you have to be able to prepare at home as well. We're stuck here, you know, and that goes straight into we're stuck here with kids. So what do they want? They want food 24/7. Mom, I'm hungry. Mom, I'm hungry. Mom, I'm hungry. It's been 24/7. So we're not prepped for the internet. We're not prepped to be a lunch lady 24/7. We're not prepped to be a teacher. Definitely not me. I will tell you, worst quality for me is teaching school. I can teach you how to cook, but the schooling part, it's like crazy. I mean, you'll see when your kids get older, the math they're teaching is insane.
I'm not interested. I'm not interested.
I honestly, I'll be honest with you. I went in full force with the kids with school. And then I threw my hands in the air and I said, you know what? Life's too short. I can't fold my whole life because of this pandemic, you know, and I'm not going to get in fights with my kids constantly because of schooling and because we don't understand how to do something. You know, I think this is an eye-opener for everybody. I think that COVID should humble all of us. It should bring us back to our roots. It should bring us back to doing things that we say we don't have time to do. You know, going on a walk, gardening, sitting outside on your deck. I mean, these are things that kids really do enjoy. They just want a minute of our time. And so that's why I was like, being the battle axe about school, it's just not for me. It's not for my household. You know, my kids have learned so much. They've learned how to bake. They learned how to measure ingredients. They've learned how to cook. My 10-year-old now can use a stove by herself. She's pulling things out of the oven and, you know, learning how to read recipes. I mean, these are life skills, you know, and if we don't teach our children these life skills that we were taught when we were young, they're going to go out into the world, you know, just juvenile.
Ill prepared.
You know, very ill prepared. And that doesn't create a strong person. You know what I'm saying? So I think that all of this should just humble us. I also think that, and this goes to everybody in this business and every industry that's suffering as much as we are Spartans. We are warriors, okay? We just have to keep going. We have to stay strong. We have to change our models, and we just have to adapt, because if there's no adaptation, you're gone, you're extinct. So just keep going.
Hey, shit, you know my motto. I'm all about flipping that shit. I'm all about straight ahead. I'm all about that, you know, our brand is bold. Our brand is raw. It is what it is. Get in or get out, you know, that kind of thing. That's the way you have to be, especially in times like these. There's that old saying about a wartime leader. This is where you're finding out who's a wartime leader, right? And there's a lot of entrepreneurs right now who are at home dying, you know, sad, but they're dying. I say you're dying because you didn't plan. You didn't have an actual business model. You didn't plan. You didn't prepare. You didn't have a foundation. You were flying by the seat of your pants. And guess what? COVID hit. Quarantines hit. You got knocked on your ass. And now you're sitting there going, holy shit. I thought I was good. I thought I was the best. I thought I did everything right. And sure, are there people making mistakes? Yeah, we all make mistakes. There's no doubt about that. And we'll make more mistakes. But for those who are dying on the vine, so to speak, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and take that accountability and say, what did you do to set yourself up? What was your plan B and C should you ever need it? Because this is when that's coming out right now, you know, and for entrepreneurs who really understand their model, really understand their business, you know what adjustments to make because they've always been in the back of your mind anyway. Like, oh shit, if this doesn't happen, I would have to do this. So you should have an idea of your B, C, and D. Hopefully you never have to use it, but you should have that. It's like a roster. You should have your roster set. So hopefully a lot more people that are watching this are going to get some inspiration to keep going forward because Briana's going through it. Sal's going through it. You know, we went through it. We had to make our adjustments, but our adjustments, what's up? Our adjustments just took a little bit more time in terms of weeks than days. But for some people, they haven't even had a chance to adjust because they had nothing to adjust to. That's powerful.
Right.
So let's talk about this. Some of the changes that you've done now in COVID are to sustain, keep people employed, bring some money in, keep the business alive. Is there anything that you're doing now that you plan on continuing to do once the doors actually open?
Well, first and foremost, before we jump ahead to that, just because I really liked what you just said.
Sure.
A huge question. I mean, if I haven't heard this question probably 1,000 times already. I haven't heard it once. People have been asking me, why is Sal there? Why is he there morning, noon, and night? You know, why? You guys have people, you have management, you have great managers. You know, he doesn't need to be there. Totally wrong. Coming from a business owner standpoint of view, no one's going to work like an owner. You know, no one is going to work like that business owner. And, you know, he does the work of like 3 people.
Sure.
You know, so, and if you're not there to see everything, you know, kind of pan out, that's a fail right there. You know, and then also he's not paying three other people to do his job. You know, so we have to save wherever we can. And that was like one of the first things that we said. We looked at the broad spectrum. We're like, where can we cut? What do we need? What is 100% necessary? What's the in between? And what is, you know, stuff that we can kind of cut right now?
Sure.
So I do want to say that. And
no,
that's
a key piece. That's a key piece. There's no doubt about that. And I'm glad you brought that up because that is a key piece.
That's where a lot of corporate people, you know, they don't understand because, you know, corporations, they're not small business owners, you know, they don't see, and that's, you know, a huge thing for anybody that's even in your industry. You know, if you want to get ahead, you want to climb to the top, you got to be willing to get your hands dirty.
Mm-hmm. You know? Well, you know what I always say about that? I always say you have to be willing to go back to how it all began. Yeah. And that's really something that it's called humility. You know, when you're an entrepreneur, you get your ass whooped so many times that you become a little hard, you become a little thicker because you can see and anticipate when things are coming. You're like, oh, I've seen this kind of guy before. I've seen this situation before. I've seen this vendor issue before. You can anticipate and delegate and react the right way, right? But you're right. A lot of people are wondering why is Sal working all these hours? At the end of the day, you're right. Nobody will ever work like the person that owns it, right? Because you know what to do. At the end of the day, it's your core competency that got you to this level, got you this far, 16 years later, household name throughout Lake County and more. But my point is, it was that work ethic that you instill in people, right? And at the end of the day, who's better suited to do it? You guys. That's what it comes down to. Yeah. And for a lot of businesses, especially with now, you have to go lean. You have to go lean. Unfortunately, you have to go lean. You do have to let some employees go. You have to reduce staff, things of that thing. This forced everybody to do this. So it's not like Mambo decided to cut staff. The world had to cut staff, right? So what does that mean then? Well, somebody has to work. It's got to be the owners.
It's really difficult because, you know, the majority of my staff is front end, you know, so everyone I had to cut was front end, and it is horrible. I mean, we've been checking on everybody. Thank God everyone's been doing well. They've been able to collect unemployment and, you know.
You know, to that point.
Thank God.
To that point, because I love that. You know,
I have a little one out.
It's okay. No, it's okay. This is the new reality that we're living in right now. So the reality of this is, you said something that's important. What about? Okay, so Dino in Log Cabin, right? He was telling me that I asked him a question. I said, when did you know you had to cut staff? He said early on. He had a meeting with everybody. told everybody this is what it is, right? That you're free to collect unemployment. What's up, dude? Look at all that hair. My goodness. Look at this cutie kid. But when did you and Sal know that you guys had to make that cut?
When did we know? Hold on 1 second, Brian.
You got it. Man, I tell you, this is the life. I got my kids upstairs trying to get through the hole in the wall. We got a big playground. This is the new reality of trying to do business. I had calls all morning, and we have kids flying down the slide right behind the camera. I'm telling everybody watching that this is the new life. That this morning I had business calls on Zoom, and I built a big playground back here in the basement. We got 9-foot ceilings, big basement, and I cut a hole at the landing so when they come down, they can go right through a slide. Right. All of a sudden, I hear shh right into the balls. I'm sitting there going, really? You don't see all this setup? Like I'm not on a call, right? And my daughter's like, I'll be quiet. I'm like, yeah, but that was really loud when you said that. My grandmother's here. Right before we went live with you, I told her, watch the kids, give me an hour, we're going to be good. She comes to the door, she goes, can you grab the salt off the top shelf? I said, Grandma, I said, oh my God, I'm about to go live. But this is what it is. You make it work, man. But no, my buddy who owns a restaurant, obviously, said the same thing. I asked him the same question. I'll ask it to you. When did you and Sal know that you had to let go of staff, and how did that go?
Well, we knew right away. We knew right away. There's two things we knew.
Can you come a little closer to your phone so I can have more volume?
Sure.
Better. There you go. Boom.
So we knew right away, Ryan. We knew that because we're shutting down the front end, that everybody from the front end, had to go. And then it was a point of deciding, who was best fit and why they were best fit to stay, with us. It just happens like we have just a skeleton crew of kitchen guys, and then just a couple people up front and a couple drivers, so my skeleton crew in the back, they all live with each other. So what does that do for this pandemic and this virus is that creates less mixing, you know what I'm saying? So, we have 3 guys that all live in the same household, you know what I'm saying? So that's less, shall we say, contamination. I hate to use that word, but it's less mixing, less socializing, and less families being brought into the business, so we kept those guys on. We had a serious talk with who was going to stay on with social distancing and staying away. And it's not that we're afraid. It's not that we're afraid that we're going to get sick and die, because thank God, none of us have like any type of, heart disease or we're not high risk. We're all younger in age and, healthy people. So, we just didn't want anybody to get sick and be an asymptomatic person and possibly spread this to our clients. So we wanted to keep it as tight of a crew as possible and, work it out like that. So although I think I already had it in February, but we'll find out.
I agree. I think I had it in
some real testing here.
I think I had it in January. I was in December, I was sick with the flu. I always get the flu once a year, and it's a 24-hour bug, and then it goes away. I was sick for 4 weeks, man. All through December, I was so sick. And I remember I was in bed for like 2-3 days at a time. And I felt bad. Like my body was done. I had no energy to even sit up. I'm like, man, I'm really sick. This is crazy. I didn't go to the doctor. I didn't have any medication. You suffer through the flu. You know what to do. Take your Tylenol and Advil and soup and just water, whatever. And pass it, really. But this was a long one, and it kept coming back. So I agree with you. I'm like, I think I had this already. Right. Well, and I'm not making a joke about it, but I hope I had it. So
I'm not either. Yeah, because it'll be stronger and, whatnot. And I will get the antibody test when it's more than 43% accurate, when it's more like 90%, because potentially then I could help other people.
Right.
But I really do think I had it because I had loss of taste. I had a metal taste in my mouth. I did go to the doctor, and I was swabbed for the flu and for strep, and I came out negative in both. Good. I also had what I thought I had a sinus infection because I had massive sinus pressure, body aches, pains, a fever. And they said, no, honey, you don't have a sinus infection. There's no earache. You don't have strep. You don't have the flu. I said, well, what do I have? And two doctors looked at each other and they were puzzled. They're like, well, we don't know. So, I mean, hopefully I did.
That's what I'm saying. Hopefully you're done with it. I'm done with it. And we're just waiting for everybody else to be done with it. If that's even a possibility, who knows? So let's talk more about Sal, if you don't mind. You know, how's Sal doing? You know, be honest with you. I mean, obviously there's a lot on his plate. There's no doubt about it. He's there all day. How's he doing?
Well, he definitely is a Spartan.
I believe
although I'm the Spartan by blood, he's a Spartan. He's a warrior. Physically, the man is unstoppable.
Awesome.
I think more it's mentally, and you know, I speak to him every night when he comes home, and then we have a lot of friends in this industry, and I've really been trying my hardest to kind of be that rock for everybody.
Sure.
Because it's the same. I think it's the same feel with everyone that I know in this industry. Mentally, it's crazy because your mind is going in 6,000 different directions. I think he's super strong. So, I mean, I think we'll pull through this and he'll be fine. Okay. But I'm trying to get the man a day off.
Yeah.
We'll see if that happens.
Well, the reality is, I mean, with the skeleton crew that you talk about, at the end of the day, if he takes a day off, it'd probably be you going in, wouldn't it?
I've offered that.
It'd be you going into battle. Is that actually a reality that could happen, or is it? Let me ask you this: would Sal want to come home and deal with the kids for 24 hours?
That's not when I have a baby. Not when he'd be changing diapers.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him. I have the 5-year-old stirring up the house. It drives me nuts. I can't wait till Megan gets home at 4 every day. I'm like, come on. And then when she walks in the door, I tag her. I'm like, you're it. I'm out.
No, he actually has said to me, you know, that he can't believe that, you know, from home, you know, I'm working on so many different things and working on the computer and trying to push out so many design things. You saw our new sign.
Yep. You know, sign looks fantastic, by the way.
Thank you. Buying things for the restaurant, you know, creating content, you know, pushing it through with social media, you know, handling logistics for things and phone calls and Zoom calls and, you know, all this. And then also, like I said, handling the kids and a household. It is difficult. But like I said, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger, and it's the nature of this business. So
true.
You know, I'm just looking forward to next summer.
Oh, I heard that. I am
That's
too.
what I keep telling myself.
That's what I'm looking forward to too. So let me ask you a couple other questions in keeping with that theme. I mean, what does next summer look like? Has this changed the restaurant business forever in your opinion, or is this something that it's a challenge, it's going to take a little bit of recovery time, but you don't see an issue come next summer? Are you guys anticipating a huge change or what?
I don't see it. I mean, God forbid if we are still in the situation that we're currently in.
Not in the situation, but do you think the restaurant industry has changed because of this forever?
I think it will.
Really? Yeah. In what ways?
I think that the strong will survive.
Mm-hmm.
The weak will fail.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's not a knock towards anyone. Because I don't want to see anyone fail. Mm-hmm. But it will make the industry not as diluted as it has become. I also think that there is a little bit of fear in our clientele and the general public. You know, so I think they'll be more conscious about where they go and what they eat. I think they will become a little bit more aware.
It's an interesting perspective. I like that. Yeah. I didn't think about that per se. You're right, because people.
You know what? I've been talking to a lot of. Oh, absolutely. I've been talking to a lot of clients, and it's funny because there's this debate going on, you know, within our restaurant right now of which is safer, you know, dining outside or dining inside, and everybody keeps going back and forth, you know, and we're lucky enough where we're prepped for outside dining at both restaurants because we've been doing it for how many years?
Right.
For the restaurants that are out there that don't have the outdoor dining space like we currently do, you know, I feel really bad for them, and it's like 6 to 1, half dozen to another. Which is better? We don't know. But I will tell you this, with this discussion and discussing with clients on the phone and, just family members and friends, they do feel more comfortable dining outside because it's open air.
Sure.
They don't want to go in somewhere.
Sure.
Yet, especially people that are, over the age of 60, they want to stay outside.
Sure.
So I think it's really changed their mentality of things. So,
I think that's going to be a strategy
will it
used.
continue?
I think it's going to be a strategy to use the whole outside idea from towns and cities and municipalities saying, listen, that might be the best solution given the time of the year, at least here in the Midwest, right? Where you can sit there and say, we can start having dinners and lunches outside, get things going, get people comfortable. I agree with you. I think a lot of the way the industry will change, but all business will change, is on the people. It won't be
definitely.
It won't be the news and restrictions and guidelines. It's going to be how people on their terms decide to get looser with themselves as time progresses. When people start getting comfortable again, that's when I think things will come back to a certain point of comfort, right? But if they're not, they're going to dictate everything, just because you offer, let's say you had the ability to offer 20 tables outside, you're able to take part of your parking lot and say, boom, this is closed off outdoor. We're gonna put plants out there and it's gonna look amazing. We're gonna doctor it up, right? Which is a very real possibility. But you have that ability and people still don't want to sit out there. Then you're like, you know what, it's on the people. I can give them what they want, but they've still got to drink the water.
It's funny that you're saying this because, in the past 16 years, we've had tables out there for the past 14 out of the 16 years. Mm-hmm. And it's funny that it'll be the most beautiful evening.
Yeah.
And I could not give away a table outside. Yeah. And I say to myself, oh my gosh, how are they not sitting outside and enjoying this beautiful weather right now? Especially in Chicago with the fabulous weather we have. Mm-hmm. That was a joke.
I know.
They should be enjoying it. They should be sitting outside. We should take a page, out of Italy's book, out of Greece's book, out of all of Europe, and people should be dining outside. They shouldn't worry about sweating a little bit. They should be sitting outside, talking to each other, being more social. They should be riding their bikes. And hopefully, again, this is what COVID's going to do for us is people are going to ride their bikes more often. They're going to go walk more often. They're going to stand outside more often or eat outside, or just, go in their yard and whatnot.
I have this conversation all the time. Everybody's always asking me the same thing. Like, I know anything. I'm like, no, dude, I'm the wrong guy to give advice, but I can just give experienced opinion. That's it. But I'm always like, look, I think what's going to happen is humans and the human interaction will change, both good and bad, actually. But I think people at the core of it are going to appreciate the things they never had before that they now are forced to do. Ride a bike, go for a walk, read a book, sit on a patio, have a bonfire. But more importantly, everybody is more engaged with their family, probably more than they ever have been to this point in their life. Or if you're an older generation, now you're re-engaged, right, to a certain point, and you're like, wow, man, it actually brings to light how much our society works our ass off. Again, both good and bad, but it also talks about where our priorities are, right? This actually refocuses you to say, listen, I'm reading my kids' bedtime stories, or that my son wants a book at like noon during lunch, and I'm trying to get on a Zoom call, and I'm like, I'll read the book. I have no choice, but I'll read the book. And also you realize that wasn't that hard. It took 4 minutes out of my life to read you this little book. Right. And that meant everything to him, right? I'll forget about it later, but it meant everything to him. Sure. And that's where I think a lot of people have eaten some serious humble pie in the last 12 weeks, my opinion.
No, I 110% agree with you. And you have to look for the beautiful, within the ugly. The situation is probably the ugliest that you and I have ever seen our whole entire lives, but we somehow have to find the beautiful, and we have to go with it, and we have to create, because if we don't, as business owners, we're going to fail.
Let me ask you this. In relation to the last recession, clearly you weren't quarantined. None of us were quarantined in the last recession.
Right.
Is it financially similar, or is it absolutely completely night and day?
Night and day.
Okay, that's what I figured. I had to ask, but that's what I figured. It's interesting because we
were very fortunate during the last recession that our restaurant is versatile enough, as you know, that we have such a a broad spectrum of what we offer and also pricing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so we're fortunate enough that we have options like that. And by giving options, you know, we have all different types of diners, you know, so we don't just focus on, you know, one type of diner. It's not like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we don't focus on just kids. Yes, we have kids. We don't focus on just families. Yes, we have families.
Mm-hmm.
We don't focus on just couples on a date or businessmen, you know, or older people, the seniors. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we want to have a broad spectrum so that we have an appeal to everyone. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and I think because of that and having such, you know, a wide variety of things and always, you know, being willing to kind of appease our clientele, you know, whether it's dietary needs, you know, special or religious, you
Mm-hmm.
know, diets or, you know, whatever, you know, we've always adapted to that. So, you know,
No,
no,
there's no doubt. There's no doubt. You go to Mambo, it's family. You walk in, everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows who the regulars are. Even if you're a regular, you know a regular. It's just it's funny, and that's the dynamic. That's the beauty of longevity. That's the reason why people go there. Food is good, place is great, people are awesome. That's the key to the success, in my opinion. If I were to run a business, a restaurant, which I never would, by the way, ever, I would want that dichotomy. I would want that mix. It's got to be perfect like that, you know. And you guys have that. Um, let's talk moving forward now. Okay. Let's talk Briana moving forward. I know you and I spoke recently about video content, marketing, new ideas, your own show kind of thing. You cooking more and showing how to cook and things of that nature. How's that developing? What's in the works?
like I told you before, we were prepping our new unit
Mm-hmm.
for cooking classes, demonstrations, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of doing it where we can gather and do that, we're doing everything via Zoom,
Mm-hmm.
you know, cooking food boxes and then, you know, doing cooking classes, which is awesome, you
Sure.
know, but honestly, I can't wait. I can't wait for the day till my new store is open. So
Where is it going to be?
right next door.
You guys knocking down another wall, or what are we doing here?
Another wall.
That's amazing. I
I,
love
I
it.
expect you over with a sledgehammer.
Hell yeah. You let me know. I'll film it.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait for that day to come. You know, private events, private parties, cooking for people,
Sure.
you know, that's my jam. You know, it is. We
Sure.
will have somewhat of like a boutique European grocery store in the front end.
Wow.
We're prepping for, you know, par bakes and
Sure.
take in bakes and, you know, big quantities of stuff. I mean, as you know, currently people buy, you know, tubs of our sauces, our marinara,
Mhm.
tubs of our soups, minestrone, and, you know, everything that we make,
I love
you know,
that.
at the restaurant. So that's going to be kind of like the focus,
So
you know.
you're creating this brand of product, which is outstanding. You're going from the food to the actual food service to the catering to the selling of product. I mean, you're bringing Italy to Mundaline, right?
Yep.
You're gonna take over that entire strip, and I think that's phenomenal. I love that idea because at the end of the day, why not expand the brand, right? This is what you do, and if you're totally passionate about it, I'm sure you've got 5 other ideas that are in the back burner that you'll accomplish over the next few years strategically. I'm seeing it unfold right before me, which I think is great. Anything we could do to help you, just reach out anytime. I think that, in my personal opinion, and you see how our marketing content is robust. It's all day, every day content in your face. But I think that's going to be a big play for you, honestly, for you guys to continue being out in the forefront, far beyond local, far beyond Chicago. You know,
Right.
you're making this national and international brand. I can see that happening, and video marketing can make that happen 10 times faster. So again, on that level, if there's anything I can do to help you with that, you just reach out and I'll show you a couple of things that I know, or turn you on to some people that I know are good at that. But yeah, I like that idea. I think showcasing everything you guys have done into a show where you get continuous viewership and it builds anticipation. And then you're able to also showcase and pre-market strategically the other things you're doing, the other store, the other location, the other products. There's so many things you can do off that. I love that. I love that. So how often, if at all right now, are you filming anything from home? Is it a weekly thing? I know you're getting into it, but is it like a weekly thing that you're trying to film something? Is it daily? Is it monthly?
It's, I mean, it's a part of it is just life.
He's like,
You know, a huge part of it is life. You know, it's, you know, somebody messages me, you know, can you do this? Can you show me? Can you help? You know, I don't know how to do this. You know, a lot of it is that. And I honestly, you know, I'm an instrument of God. God made me who I am. I'm his tool. I'm here. I'm here to show everybody, you know, my passion, my talents, my treasures, you know, and I'm here to share it with everyone. You know, so whenever anybody messages me or inboxes me, you know, they actually kind of are pleasantly surprised that I actually respond. So a
Sure.
lot of it is, hey, can you do this? Hey, can you do that? And then plus, there's also been this thing in my head where I kind of want to like pay it forward, you know, and I want to share like a smile with somebody. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to make focaccia today and I'm going to bring it to so-and-so because I know they like focaccia. You know, maybe it'll bring a smile to their face. And, you know,
Fantastic.
I'm going to make cookies for this kid, or, oh, it's somebody's birthday, I'm going to bake a cake and, you know, go over there. Or it's just day to day, Mom, we want hot dogs. Well, we don't just do hot dogs. We do hot dogs.
We doctor them up.
We do badass hot dogs.
Yeah, we do.
Big, big hot dog board. You know
I
what I
like
mean?
it. I like it. I
So it's
like
just,
it.
I'm more, sorry, I don't
Good
know.
call, huh? There goes an order.
I'm, you know, trying to tie in my everyday life, you know, because, you know, we don't sell hot dogs at the restaurant. I mean, at the golf course we do to the golfers, but, you know, it's not just what I'm doing at the restaurant, because the application I'm using at home is I'm going to make food like any mom or dad would make food for their children or for their household. You know, that's the type of food I'm putting out there, because, you know, if I put, you know, anything and everything I do at the restaurant, all my specials and whatnot, you're getting into extremely complicated things, which, yes, some of my followers, a big chunk of my followers are chefs, they could do, you know, but that's not my main focus right now. Maybe when I get back to work, I'll start showcasing
Sure.
fancier food, but right now it's that. So basically my content is everyday life. You'll see, you know, a couple things with, you know, fashion, creativity, art, just like my birthday post. That's another, you know, part of my life. I mean, you know me,
Mm-hmm.
I don't leave the house unless I'm put together, you know, and
Yeah,
that's
you and Megan. You and
my
Megan. Megan, man, I got to sit there and wait on my ass every single day, all day long. Like, can we get on with this? But trust me, I appreciate when she walks out and I'm like, okay, I waited. Let's go.
yes.
I get it. But you know what? That's all part of the image and the brand. I like that you could tie that in. I tell this to Megan all the time. I like that you could tie that in with everyday life, because that brings a reality to it. You know, you care about your appearance, you care about your health, you care about your brand, you showcase that, but you're an everyday mom, you're an everyday wife, you're an everyday entrepreneur, right? That's the key. I think that's what people want to see. That's what leads to followers. That's what leads to people that are going to be like, you know what, I can relate to that, and I want to follow this. And by the way, I do like that she happens to cook. It could almost be that indirect thing where they didn't care less about the food. They like your lifestyle, or they like your kids, or they like your style of clothes, or the color paint on your wall. And then it leads to, well, I kind of like a lot of the things that that person does. And that's that organic way of bringing on followers from a marketing standpoint. But I think the world needs authenticity. And I think that's I think that's the route you're going is 100% the way.
It is lacking. It's lacking huge, you know, and it's going back to, people have to humble themselves. You know, it's not always a show.
All right.
Um, I locked myself in the laundry room and sat on the floor and cried the other day because I was just mentally overwhelmed. You know, it's not that I don't love my kids. It's not that I don't love my job. It's not that I absolutely love my house, but, you know, especially being a creative mind, being stuck here is crazy, you know. And then there's the point of missing, you know, work and missing my coworkers. You know, my kitchen guys are my family. You know what I'm saying? And I have fun with them. We have fun in the kitchen. I love my job, you know, and I miss my clients. My clients come in and they're just amazing people,
Sure.
amazing people to converse and please. And, you know, and then there's the aspect of the creativity of, you know, our menu changes every week. You know, we have a base menu and then we have our special menu, and that changes every week. And that's a huge form of creative expression that I get to do every single week. So, you know, it is hard, but it's like, I'm trying to just promote, you know, being happy and creativity in my household, painting and, you know, doing art projects with the kids, getting outside, rubbing our feet in the dirt.
Yeah.
So we're not, you know, in our bubble.
No, I get it. I get it. I mean, for those who don't realize what it takes to run a restaurant, I mean, that's your family. You're there all day long. You come and go all day long. That's the office. That's the house. The family, the kids come over to see you. It's a true family dynamic. And to have that taken from you to a certain degree, that takes everything that you love. You know,
Right.
the biggest passions of what obviously fuels you, besides the children, of course, but it takes away a big chunk of you, and now you're forced to adapt in a different way where you're not able to express that creativity, right? And that's frustrating. Trust me. I agree with what you're saying and understand 100%, because for the first few weeks I was sitting there kind of, I don't want to say miserable, but I was like, man, like I can't travel. I miss my clients. I miss brainstorming. I miss creative. And it doesn't matter. I could continue brainstorming. I couldn't enact anything. I'm restricted. I'm literally, they're like, you can't go anywhere. So it's like, I can only do so many Zoom calls a day. I can only write so many boot camps a month. Like I was like done. And I was like, I don't want to burn myself out doing the same thing.
Right.
So you get creative like you're doing, and you're like, how else do I burn this fuel?
Right.
It's still going to be beneficial to everybody here. And you learn to do that, you know, going on walks with my kids while they ride their bike. A lot of things are happening. The thing is, the kids are still progressing, right? It's almost like the adults that are allowing themselves to regress. And you can't, because your kids are still living life every single day, right? So that's what it is for us. We wake up in the morning, we have an agenda. I have to have a structure. That's who I am. I need an agenda. I need to know what I'm doing. I have my coffee. I ride that Peloton. I got my thing. I need structure. And I'm super excited that when this opens up again, that I can go back to adding back to my original structure. But I'm also going to take some of the things I learned during this shit with me. That's a fact.
Yeah. It's like we're going to be upgraded.
Hell yeah.
I think we're going to be upgraded once this is over. And, you know, I think it is going to change our lives for the better, at least most of us, you know, and we just have to keep going, you know, and that's what I've been telling myself every day. We just have to keep going.
Sure. Well, you know what? We're at 51 in, man. It was a great conversation. So here's what I want to say.
Feels like 10.
I'd like you to give, what's that?
I said it feels like 10 minutes in.
It always does. I mean, that's the whole idea. You know, I put this show on, to be honest with everybody. I put this show on because I always wanted to have my own podcast, but I didn't want a podcast. I wanted video live feed, because I'm the kind of guy that I don't mind being in front of a camera. Everybody knows that. But when it's live, you have to bring a certain energy to it, and anything goes, right? And I like to be perfectly imperfect. So it's like, see it for what it is. Technical problems, fuck it. Can't hear it? Oh, well, whatever. You roll with it.
We don't, when we sit and we converse at the restaurant or, you know, as friends or whatever, there's no rewind button.
No, man, this is what it is. This is how it's always been. So that's one of the reasons why I did this. But more importantly, it's for those entrepreneurs who are at home struggling, like, man, they're tired, maybe like you know, they're frustrated and they get down on themselves when it's okay to feel bad, but you got to get back up. Listen to some other entrepreneurs. What are their ideas? What have they done? How have they maneuvered? How have they pivoted? How have they adjusted? What's their plan? What's their outlook? And if some entrepreneurs might seem self-isolated, like alone, having this conversation where they're watching two entrepreneurs talk about everyday life and the same struggles might inspire them to be like, all right, I'm not alone. You know, everybody's going through this. And that's why I like this show. And
we're experiencing the same things, Ryan. And, you know, we're in two completely different industries, you know, and it's not just our industries. There's so many more, you know, that are suffering right now. And it's like, you know what, there's going to be a light at the end of the tunnel, no matter what, for all of us. You know, there's a purpose, you know, and maybe this is meant to be like this. So we could change and we could adapt. You know, I know there's so many people out there that are, you know, talking to me about potentially career change, you know, I mean, and maybe it's pushing people, you know, to change their career to just be more happy. And I think that's what we have to focus on, is being happy in life and living life for life instead of living life for the, let's call it the constant hamster wheel.
Yep. I think to add to that was golden nuggets right there. To add to that, I think a lot of the perspective that happened, myself included, when things, you and I and the people that I have on the show were 100 miles an hour. That's how we operate, right? We got an idea, we execute, let's go. Visionary integrator, click, let's roll. Everybody else that's with us, put your seatbelt on, we're going to ride out. The reality of it is when this quarantine happened, it forces everybody to slow down. I don't like to be slowed down. When I get slowed down, I get anxiety, right? That's when I'm like, oh, I don't like this slowdown because I physically and mentally am still going 100 miles an hour. I don't like that I'm actually being told to slow down. That's scary to me. And I think a lot of people that feel that, they're like, I'm being forced to slow down. But you know what? If you take 1 second of that slowdown to just, for just clarity, go sit in a fucking corner in the dark and just sit there and think about something, you're going to realize this is actually not a bad thing because you're forcing a slow down, but it's also mentally and emotionally forcing you to slow down and just breathe.
And I'm glad you got that, because I'll be quite honest with you. I mean, you've known me pre-Mambo when we were working out at Bally's together, Bally's.
Shit, I knew Sally and Dino and everybody.
I mean, it's crazy, but I mean, it's me personally, my life was super volatile and super fast, and it was actually too fast. I'm still fast, but then there's that other part of me that, I know that I have to just pump the brakes, slow down for a minute, and kind of look at everything, for that to happen to me, I had to get hit by the car, in 2009. And when I was in the wheelchair and had to learn how to walk again, it's like that completely slowed me down. And I was grateful. I've always been grateful for that. I've been grateful that I can walk again, and I'm walking, period, and I'm alive. But I'm also grateful that it gave me that mentality that you're saying you have now because of COVID, where we do kind of have to, pump the brakes, slow down for a minute, and regroup. Because, yes, we want to be the first at something, but we have to also know that when you're ready to deliver, we have to be the best.
You get to be on. When you're on, you're on.
If you're not the best, you're second best.
If you're not first, you're last. There's no second place. The reality is, I mean, you have to play to win. Just like the Last Dance with MJ. We all grew up with MJ. I don't care what people say about the GOAT or whatnot. That's not the point. But you have to play to win. I'm not playing to play. I didn't start a business to just participate, right? I started a business to take over. Right. I started a business to make a difference, to do it better, to do it bigger, to do it more efficient. And guess who did that shit? I did. But it took a long time. But to your point, I think sometimes it does take some type of traumatic event early on that shifts your brain to say, okay, I can get through that shit. I can get through this shit. And I think so with your 2009 crash, I think that was something that set a foundation for you.
Yeah, no, I think you and I are very fortunate, Sal, being definitely included in this, because we are fast paced, and we think on our toes, and we're ready to go, we're artistic, we're always willing to change, but when you kind of get older, you have that perfect combination of I have this, but I also now can slow down and take a back seat and think things through. So when we do come at people strong, we know that we know when we're confident in what we're doing.
I call it passion. I'm like, if you don't understand my level of passion, you're going to get offended. Nothing I can do about that.
Or the way we talk.
Get on or get off.
Yeah.
So last bit of advice for the world. Tell them, Bree, Sal, the Cardone family, what is your bit of advice to the world, to the entrepreneurs, whether you're in real estate investing, restaurants, anything.
Stay on top, stay hungry, stay passionate, stay artistic, stay strong, work your ass off now, because if you do it now, the end will be that much more satisfying. And we're young, so
I like that.
We gotta go at it. It's 100% or nothing. That's the best thing I could say. You're either the best or you're the worst. There's no in between. It's 100% or nothing. And you got to
nothing. You guys heard it here. 100% or nothing. I concur. To me, if you're going to play, you play to win. And that means study, research, leverage relationships, grow. You can't be number one if you're not growing. And don't be afraid to fail. Just fail. Do it. Because it won't be the first and it won't be the last. Just do it. So, Bree, tell everybody how to get a hold of you guys. Where are you located? Where's the store? Where's all the future stores? Let everybody know.
So we are 748 South Butterfield Road in Mundelein. That's Mambo Italiano. We are also 48 Route Boulevard, Wild Buffalo in Buffalo Grove, located on the Buffalo Grove Golf Course. My Instagram is Briana Cardone, Briana My Facebook is Briana Di Tommaso Cardone, BrianaDiTommaso Also, it is the Mambo Italiano _Illinois and the Wild Buffalo BG.
Boom. Bree, awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
It was good to catch up with you. I know it was live, but it was so good to catch up with you. I've watched you guys grow through the years. I'm proud of you guys. I'm proud to have peers like that and friends like that. It really inspires me.
Right at you. I hope that I could be a muse for you, just as much as you are for me. Seriously.
I appreciate that. So anyway, you have a great day. Go get those beautiful kids, because I'm sure they're like chomping at the bit to get your attention because they want a snack. And I'm sure my kids upstairs want a snack. The word of the year, snack, drives me nuts.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I got to feed them, right? So you have a great day. Thanks, Bree. You can share this to all your media. I'm going to upload it to our private YouTube channel. And real quickly, for everybody else who's watching the show, don't forget we have boot camp Monday, June 1st. It's the intro to rehabbing. It's for everybody at all levels. Log in, go on our Facebook, go ahead, check it out. You're going to love it. And for those who don't like boot camps, whatever, go ahead and go online, and you can log into our online academy and take the courses all by yourself. Go to therehabacademy.com. Talk to you guys soon. Bree, love you, girl.